Hi Leo, how are you today? So this is going to be your mid-October reading. So hopefully things are going a little bit better than they were. I know the last couple of times I did readings back in September and 1st of October, you guys had a lot of money going out, a lot of major appliances not working right, car accidents. So I am hoping that things are starting to look up for you. If I could quit dropping the cards, let's take them. And as you're watching this, if I'm lucky, I am either in Arizona, on my way to Arizona, in Sedona, or someplace far, far away from Indiana. I started planning a trip yesterday, and I am so excited about it, I can't see straight. So maybe it'll give me a new outlook on life. It's been a rough last year and a half with everything that's happened. All right, I need one more card for the Leos, and let's hope that my good energy comes out in the cards and things are looking up for you guys. One more. And if you're new to my channel, I'm Jody with Soul Purpose Tarot, and I appreciate you stopping by. There's my last one. So, like, subscribe, send me a message, let me know what you thought. I don't care, whatever. Love to hear from you. All right, so first card is Two of Pentacles. Yeah, this is in the reverse position. So this would be, to me, that means you're juggling your money. But it was in the reverse position, so to me, that just says that you're not juggling your money anymore, and you're probably in a better space. And things aren't going out, you're not worried so much about it. Things have kind of let up on you, and, you know, as they say, when it rains, it pours. So apparently it's not pouring anymore because you're not at that place of, you know, robbing Peter to pay Paul, which we've all been there. So the next one is the Six of Pentacles, and that also tells me that you've got more money coming in, especially since it was next to that one, because underneath of it you've got two beggars that would be there, and I do not feel that you are the beggar in this placement. You are probably more the person that you finally got a handle on things. You maybe manifested some money, you came into some money, and you're in the ability where you could give out money because you're not in that place of needing it so bad. So those two together tell me that things have cleared up for you. Six of Wands, let's see. So this one, let me think here. This just, to me, looks like you've come back from battle. You're tired. You're probably exhausted because of everything that happened. And, you know, it looks like they're kind of cheering you on and cheering you back home. You've come back, you've slayed the dragons, and you're probably very tired, and you probably need to have a rest. And you probably were under a lot of stress. You were working extra hours. Things were kind of crazy when everything was going on, because anytime you're just kind of getting hit from left field all the time, it tends to just suck the life out of you. So I feel like that's probably what's going on, is you're just kind of out of juice at the moment and need to recoup. Ace of Wands. So let's see. This one tells me that, let me think. Ace of Wands. You're at the beginning of some new ideas, and it's a new beginning, and you can think straight for a change. Maybe I feel like something happened during this last spell of money going out the window and things feeling out of control. It feels to me like you came to some conclusions at that point in time, and you have some ideas or some revelations or something that came to you so it doesn't happen to you again. I may have to get clarifiers on that. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but that's just the feeling. It's kind of like you're like going, I made it through that. But I'm not going through that again, and I'm going to do blah, 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 blah next time to keep that from happening. So maybe it's putting a warranty on those appliances, and you're kicking yourself because you should have put a warranty on things, and if you had it wouldn't have cost you as much money or something. That's the feeling I'm getting, is like you've got some sort of ideas. You just want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And the last one is the Four of Wands in the reverse position. So Four of Wands, usually that means a relationship. So I feel like, okay, so if that was in the reverse position, I feel like you got in a fight or something with a significant other during this. Because I remember before, when this all happened, you were feeling highly stressed, and whenever the wash machine or whatever went out, you were mad at the person because they broke it because they were careless. And I feel like you have not forgiven that person for that just yet. You're still harboring a grudge to whoever wrecked your car, broke the wash machine or the dryer, or whoever did the things that caused you to have all this money going out and caused you all this stress because of someone's carelessness. And I feel like you have not given that up. You're still bringing that up quite frequently, and I feel like that's a message that you need to drop it and give it a break, because they're only going to put up with that shit for so long, and then there will be repercussions, I guess is what I want to say. It's like going, you better chill out, because eventually they're going to hit a breaking point, and then there's going to be a whole other fight, and it's going to be something completely different that you're fighting about, because they just got to the point where they're like, I'm done. I'm not putting up with this anymore. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect, and you need to quit acting like you are. I am going to do some mixed emotions cards, because that just is what I'm led to. This is this is interesting. It's not a love reading. It doesn't feel like there's anything to do with romance or love, except for that fight at the end, if that's with a significant other. It feels like a lot of ideas came to you in the process, and maybe something about the mixed emotions will give me some ideas of what you can do to recuperate and rejuvenate yourself. Because I just feel like right now it's like physically you feel tired to me, and it's just kind of like, I need a break. You would like to go out to Arizona with me and rejuvenate your soul. And if you can do that, that would be great. Or if you can just take a day off from work and rejuvenate and just kind of recuperate. Sometimes a mental health day is a really good thing. I recommended that to a friend of mine today who was having a hard time. He's going through a rough patch, and I said, well, which is going to be better for your soul? Staying home and having a conversation with God and your angels and your higher self, or going to work and not being happy about it? Okay, so let's see if this is all about recommendations to take a mental health day. So the first one that came up was comforted, and it was in the reverse position. Reassured, consoled, and nourished. So you are not feeling nourished, because that was in the reverse position. And most of the time these don't come up in reverse, but sometimes I feel like I need to leave them. So in that case, I feel like you are feeling undernourished. You probably haven't been eating well. You've been stressed. You've been working way more than you needed to, and your body is physically kind of at a breaking point. So everything about this whole reading is saying, take a mental health day and start correcting that, because if you don't maintain your car, it's going to break down, just like your body's going to break down if you don't maintain your body. Unworthy, disgraced, and humiliated came up next. I feel like that has to do with the fight that you got into, and you feel really bad about yelling at somebody or making the way you made them feel because you have not let off on them. So that's what that feels like, is you're feeling bad about yourself for the way you've handled that whole thing. Fulfilled, satisfied, self-actualized, and at peace. That came in under the Six of Wands, which just tells me you're kind of like at peace now, as far as having gotten through that hard thing and coming up with some ideas of how to make sure it doesn't happen again, as far as having like the warranty or whatever. So I feel like you're sleeping better. I think that's the main thing, is just like it feels like you're sleeping better because you're not worried and laying there in bed at night and trying to calculate in your head, you know, I need $500 for this and I've only got $350 coming in. And so that part is over and you're feeling more fulfilled and sleeping better at night and at peace. I feel like at peace is the key word about that whole thing. This is weird how these are coming up. It's like, okay, so it's like you're bipolar. I get that some days myself. You know, it's like one day you feel good, one day you're bad. One day you're good, one day you're bad. But for whatever reason, you're still kind of going up and down in that. You're like, it's over, oh, thank God. And the next day you're like, you're down in the dumps. And then you're up and then you're down and feeling powerless, paralyzed, ineffective, and weak. So something still got you wrapped up in your head. It's like you're not completely out of the woods with your negative thinking, and you need to work on that some more in whatever way, shape, or form. Confused, disoriented, bewildered, and puzzled. What are you puzzled about? I feel like that has something to do with okay, let me think about this. What am I hearing? Something that happened with something didn't match up with the story. Something in the last month or something that's happened. It's like somebody told you a story about something, about what happened. Maybe it was a contractor that came to work on the house, you know, to redo the roof. And he told you one thing and it didn't match up with something else that someone else told you. It feels like it has to do, honestly, it feels like it has to do with like repairmen that have been to the house to help with these various things that all went wrong. And you're confused because you're like, well, that story doesn't match up with that story. And that story doesn't match up with that story. And your intuition is telling you something is off. And so you're still going around in your mind like, did I do the right thing? Did I hire the right person? Did I spend too much money? Did I really not need to go buy a brand new washer and dryer? Or did I not need to do that? That's what it feels like, is like you're second guessing yourself on, did you do the right thing? On like the repair costs or buying something new when you believe somebody, you know, like somebody came in and said, oh my God, you need a whole new roof. And you fell for it and went ahead and put a whole new roof on the house. And maybe you could have just got along with a couple of new shingles or something like that. That's what it feels like, is you're questioning yourself on, did you do the right thing during that whole process, because you were under stress and you didn't have time to really, you didn't have 3 weeks to have 5 people out to look at everything. You're like, I need this fixed right now. And so you went to the first person and they told you this and you just fell for it. And now you're questioning about that, or your spouse is questioning you about that and you're having to defend yourself about that. And the grief card came in reverse. Grief, sorrowful, heartbroken, and bereaved. But I feel like that's about over with. You're kind of like shaking it off and you're like, you know what? It's done and over. You've learned that you can't, the past is the past, and you can second guess yourself. Coulda, woulda, shoulda is a phrase. I could have done this. I should have done this. I would have done this. And you can't fix anything in the past. So you just need to let that go and move on. If that's what you're stressing out about, just let it go. There isn't a damn thing that you can do about it at this point in time. I am going to use the Work Your Light Oracle cards and see if your guides, your higher self, your past loved ones, or anybody has anything else they would like to throw in here about this situation. Again, it's pretty specific to you Leos. And now I know 2 Leos that this stuff is falling into. So it's just amazing that that's going on. So, all right. I guess I'm always, it's like I shouldn't be surprised, but I am always surprised when someone sends me a message or tells me that is so on the money. I can't even describe it. I just pull the cards. Yes, I'm intuitive, and yes, I can tell you what I think all of that means, but I'm not the one that lays the cards out. They usually fly out of the deck. That's how I do it. Let's do a couple more. All right, that one's trying to come out. Do I want all of them? Sure, we'll take them all. All right, first one says, how are you being called to step up and lead? So, I feel like this has to do with the forgiveness of whoever you got in a fight with over this last month or so. And I feel like this is kids are watching you and you're holding a grudge, so they're learning that holding a grudge is okay. And I feel like that's what that is saying is you're being step up to lead, and that's not the way you want to be, is showing someone that holding a grudge is a good thing. That's just what that feels like. Longing for home, belonging, and the original light workers was the next card that came up. Longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. I'm not sure what that means. Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtle realms. So, divine orchestration. I guess for some reason I'm feeling like having all of that stuff that kind of fell on you at once is divine orchestration, and it's just to kind of make you tougher and lessons learned, and see if because everybody's been through this before. I know Wayne Dyer always talked about what do you do? If you squeeze an orange, what comes out of it? Orange juice. When you squeeze a person, what comes out of it? Hate and anger, or love and light? And I feel like, that was part of your soul's kind of going, you still got some hate and anger that we need to get squeezed out of there. And you kind of showed them there was still some of that in you. And, if that's how you want to be, great. I don't know that I would be real happy when I overreact about certain things. And I do that. I have done that with my guy some. The Great Gathering. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits and soul tribe. The intuitive hits goes along with what we were talking about. You're second guessing yourself on some of the repair work that you did. So I feel like you are thinking you should have paid attention to your intuition, and that's why you're thinking about it now, is like you've got this thing in your mind like, I knew I should have went with the other person. I knew I should have went with the other wash machine. I knew I should have went with the other repairman or whatever. And maybe that's what you learned from that whole experience is, I'm following my intuition next time. I knew that was the wrong thing to do, and I'm not doing that anymore. And that's why I'm second guessing. Yes, your intuition is always going to tell you the truth. So whatever your gut is telling you, if it's a sick pit in your stomach, sleep on it and see if you've still got a sick pit in your stomach the next morning. And if, you know, I can tell, yes, I need to do this. And it's like, I feel wide open. And if something's not right, I get like this, like my stomach gets kind of feeling to it. So maybe that's what your lesson was, is to pay attention to your intuition. And the last card that came up was Ancestral Patterns, Healing and Rewriting the Future. Goes along with what I just said. You learned a lesson from this. Follow your intuition. You overrode it. You knew better. And next time you're not going to do that. So, Leo, I hope you found this valuable. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you for the November reading. Thanks.